Welcome to Fear the Fallen's weekly highlights. I'm Arctic Blast, and this week I'm joined by
Herbie 1994
and Deadborn 1.
We start out with Fire Blaster in his Jagdtiger 88, and we'll just spoil it for you right now. It's an entirely tank destroyer episode.
Yeah, Jagdtiger 88 has a really good 88mm gun with a good rapid rate of fire, so it's good for tracking and just destroying anything in front of it.
Yeah, and Fire Blaster definitely tracks a lot in this video.
It's a good tank overall. I mean, that superstructure is really hard to get through, but honestly, Blaster's rolling around with this thing like it's not even a tank destroyer. He's just getting up in the face of people.
Where are you going to hold down in a city, Deadborn?
And then he finds his KV-5. And at this point, at this point he's like, oh crap, there's really no place for me to go. Maybe I might get lucky.
If nothing else, he's a good distraction.
See, at this point, he would have been better off with a marshmallow gun against that thing.
But, you know, he did keep him distracted long enough for someone to roll up and shoot him, so it worked for him. And they're just decimating in the city on this one, and just, you know, they're already halfway through the city. They have fur control. I mean, if they wanted to cap, they probably could cap.
Goes with the tracking shots again. Yeah.
Well, you know, trying to take on, you know, a prototype isn't the easiest thing to do.
No, not if he's only showing the front. This gun can't really pen that.
Well, but not to mention, you have to imagine what that prototype's thinking about is just he dropped a repair kit in order to try to back off and get away, but yeah, that reload's just saying, no, you're going to stay there, sonny boy.
And that poor A44. You give a soft side to any tank, it's going to take advantage of it. And there's just like volley after volley. I mean, they just focused fire here on these last few tanks.
Which for a random game is honestly impressive to say the least right there.
Yeah, it does kind of feel like a skirmish the way they're just, you know, jumping on top of everybody. You know, and he came across the master in 3 kills, so
not bad.
Not bad. And now here I am in my AT-8 on steps, and I don't take this tank out of the garage too much anymore, just because it's elite and I'm trying to focus on my other tanks. But when a couple of guys said, "Hey, we have this new TD mission, and it has to be a platoon of TDs. Can you please help us, you know, get it?" I'm like, okay, fine. I'll just take a tank that's going to guarantee that we, you know, we do a third of the damage for the whole team.
And again, with another good rapid rate of fire, is what you're doing.
Especially, you know, when they're a Russian tank at distance, it can't hit me.
Don't put it past them.
Well, but if it does, it's going to ricochet for them mostly.
And that's the thing, though, is that gun, it doesn't punch hard, but it's the fact that it keeps on coming is such a huge thing for this tank.
No, that's a majority thing for the British TDs up until you hit that tier 10 is the really rapid fire guns.
Yeah, we'll just not mention the gun carriage at this point, right?
Death Star Arctic.
Well, I was thinking the gun carriage because it has no rate of fire and it's slow and it has very limited, you know, traversal of the gun.
See, but you can't exactly fault the Death Star either. The fact that it's blowing away tanks in single-shot rounds. I wouldn't need to reload very much if I could kill you in one shot and just walk away.
Oh, the rear of an SU-100Y.
It's the best way to face it.
It's a giant gun away from you.
He apparently needs to install some rear view mirrors because, surprise, buddy, there's something shooting at you.
And here we have Impulsive. I think this is his debut video in the replays. And he's showing you that the Nashorn is not a pushover tank.
Definitely taking it out of its environment. It's more of a sit-back sniper kind of thing because of the fact it has no armor, but...
And I'll jump out here. I'll jump out here before anybody else does in the comments. We know that the zoom is a little weird, but eh.
Yeah. And I think what really helped him out is just the fact that there was 3 TDs on that flank, and they sort of just bobbed and weaved, and I mean they kind of like playing them as if they're all mediums.
Hey, if it works, it works.
And they were able to cover each other, so you know it definitely worked. But that is kind of embarrassing for a Matilda to track you.
Well, Matilda's got a good rate of fire.
It does, but he got his revenge on that Matilda.
Well, exactly, but he's a glass cannon though, so pretty much anything can do damage to him. So
true, but just I mean, it's a tier 4 picking on a tier 6.
I'll give you that, yeah.
And then the pressure he's feeling right now, you know, it's just him and that KV-85, and there's still two enemies left. I mean, at one point they were actually down 4-2 here at the end, and nails that guy. Then he's like, "Man, can I get to this arty here in time?"
Get a top gun. Oh, come on, no, reload. Get a top gun. There you go. Good job, Impulsive.
I mean, come on. When was the last time you saw a Nashorn with a top gun? And here we have Fireball 2561 in his Waffentrager. And I love the use of driving backwards here and just poking just the gun around the corner. I mean, it gives you like nothing for the enemy to return fire at.
Yeah, it is a very small target to hit.
I do have to comment though, is those shields on the side, the fact that they do take damage is kind of a downfall for this tank. And honestly, just for the comedy's sake, you have to think about all the gunners out there standing on that tank, taking aim and shooting and all that, and the driver is just sitting in the hull like, I'm good.
He got the AC on or the heater on. Actually, probably just the heater, because I don't think the Army started putting ACs on until, like, I don't know, like when we went to Iraq or something. I like this here. He sees the first target, and he's like, "Oh, can I get it? Can I get it?" And then it hides behind a rock on him. But instead of getting preoccupied, he just looks around and sees if there's anything else. Oh, and look, sure enough.
And fire.
And then he sort of just estimates where it could possibly be.
And hits it.
And I mean, that's a good shot because it moved, and it was an entirely blind guess as to where it had moved to.
He's definitely a lot better at that than I am, honestly, with the switching targets like he needs to, especially in TDs. It's so easy to get focused on getting one single kill and getting off track on the whole battle.
Well, the fact that he's doing it in reverse, too, I mean, I sort of get my turning lefts and turning rights confused when I'm driving backwards. Especially on some of those clutch shots.
Oh, yeah, because your first thought is, oh, dear, I'm in trouble. Back up, back up, back up.
That right there is a useful kill.
And this poor scout.
Hey, I'm an artillery driver. There is no such thing as poor scout.
And that Doom Turtle makes short work of him. I was like, Doom Turtle? There's nothing to be afraid of a Doom Turtle. I have a bigger gun than him. Speaking of guns, Well, speaking of the guns and speaking of Artie, really sucks when you get one-shotted as Artie.
I feel like that was a pointed comment.
No, no.
But look at that, 7 kills, not too bad. All in a day's work. Here we have Mars Man, Mars One Man, once again in a Waffentrager, and notice this where he's located on this map. I mean, he's hugging the train tracks, and he's able to get like excellent coverage into the hills, and those heavy tanks up there keeping him spotted. I mean, that's some pretty good, tag teaming here.
And it looks like he's far enough away that the camo rating of this thing is just keeping him hidden.
Gotta love that up until the next patch when they get rid of that. Taking away 20 to 30 meters of view range, he might not be able to get half these shots.
Yeah, but knowing Mars, he's not going to give up on it. He's still going to find a way to pull off locations where you wouldn't necessarily expect a tank like this, and even though he does get a little stuck right there.
He's playing it in a way that it doesn't really matter because he's not using his view range, he's using everyone else's.
True.
And that definitely does help. I mean, because otherwise you have to, and I've seen some players do it too, where they'll shoot beyond their render range because they're using other people's spots, and they're just figuring, hey, if the vehicle's being spotted there and I can see the bushes, then the guy's got to be in the bush.
Yeah.
And then that pisses off players like there's no tomorrow. You'll see him cursing about people cheating at that point.
No, I'm just taking educated guesses and firing at where I think you are. If you want
it's called
spots, it's your problem.
Yeah, it's called knowing the enemy's tactics and techniques and using them against them.
Well, and the fact that there's a lot of players on here that think, oh, the common way of doing things is sometimes the best.
Of course, currently on this particular map, or actually I think it's the original version of this map, they've actually come out and admitted that there are some bushes that don't properly work.
Oh, that's
and that they're planning on fixing them in the next patch. Which I know as a medium guy trying to just to sit there and wait for the battle to evolve so I can flank, it really does suck.
Come on, Mars.
Yeah, low rows and. But they definitely decimated this battle here, and most of it was the 5,000 damage that Mars did.
Yeah, good job.
Well, that wraps up this week. Don't forget to subscribe, vote for your favorite replay, and we'll see you again next time. And if you have any suggestions as to any themes you'd like to see, just let us know.